Narito ang official, new and loaded complete lineup ng Rainorsine Elastopainters para sa PBA 50th o Filipino Cup. Point guards, Adrian Nocum. Star player, 6 feet, 167 pounds, 26 years old, 15.2 points, 3.6 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 1.1 steals, 28% 3-point shooter, 69% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Andre Karakut, veteran star, 5'8", 180 pounds, 29 years old, 11.7 points, 1.9 rebounds, 3 assists, 37% 3-point shooter, 75% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Anton Anasistio, 5'10", 175 pounds, 30 years old, 6.3 points, 1.2 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 43% 3-point shooter, 75% free throw shooter in his Pba 49 Philippine Cup averages. Joshua David, new player via Pba 24th draft pick, 6 feet, 185 pounds, 25 years old, 4.9 points, 2.7 rebounds, 3.1 assists, 30% 3-point shooter, 72% free throw shooter in his ongoing 2025 MPBL 7th season averages. MJ De La Virgen, new player via Pba 55th draft pick, 5'10", 178 pounds, 28 years old, 5.3 points, 2.1 rebounds, 4 assists, 31% 3-point shooter, 73% free throw shooter in his ongoing 2025 MPBL 7th season averages. Shooting guards, Stanley Pringle, new veteran star via free agent signing, 6'1", 185 pounds, 37 years old, 13.2 points, 3.8 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 1.1 steals, 37% 3-point shooter, 80% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Gian Mamuyak, rising star, 6'2", 165 pounds, 26 years old, 12.3 points, 3.6 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 1.4 steals, 15% 3-point shooter, 82% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Felix Lemeti, sophomore, injured list, 6'1", 170 pounds, 26 years old, 6.4 points, 3.1 rebounds, 3.6 assists, 17% 3-point shooter, 92% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Vince Cuajao, new player via Pba 22nd draft pick, 6'2", 185 pounds, 24 years old, 3.5 points, 1.2 rebounds, 2 assists, 25% 3-point shooter, 60% free throw shooter in his NCAA 100 season averages. Cole Misek, new player via Pba 34th draft pick, 6'1", 188 pounds, 29 years old, 10.7 points, 1.7 rebounds, 0.7 assists, 44% 3-point shooter, 88% free throw shooter in his 2019-2020 US NCAA season averages. Small forwards, Gabe Norwood, playing coach, 6'6", 190 pounds, 40 years old, 5.5 points, 4.4 rebounds, 1.4 assists, 36% 3-point shooter, 70% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Jonard Clarito, rising star, 6'2", 187 pounds, 29 years old, 11.7 points, 6.7 rebounds, 1.6 assists, 1.2 steals, 40% 3-point shooter, 72% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Mike Malonzo, sophomore, 6'3", 185 pounds, 25 years old, 5.3 points, 3.9 rebounds, 0.4 assists, 18% 3-point shooter, 82% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Sean Ildefonso, 6'2", 198 pounds, 27 years old, 3.9 points, 3.1 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 20% 3-point shooter, 75% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Arthur Roque, new player via Pba 12 draft pick, 6'3", 190 pounds, 23 years old, 3 points, 1.9 rebounds, 0.9 assists, 28% 3-point shooter, 42% free throw shooter in his ongoing 2025 MPBL 7th season averages. Power forwards, Kaylan Tiongson, rising star, 6'5", 204 pounds, 33 years old, 13.2 points, 5 rebounds, 2.4 assists, 38% 3-point shooter, 58% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Leonard Santillan, 6'4", 210 pounds, 29 years old, 12.9 points, 7.8 rebounds, 1 assist, 28% 3-point shooter, 52% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Chris Porter, 6'5", 195 pounds, 30 years old, 3.4 points, 1.3 rebounds, 0.6 assists, 18% 3-point shooter, 80% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Christian Manaytay, new player via Pba 10th draft pick, 6'5", 205 pounds, 25 years old, 7.2 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 23% 3-point shooter, 52% free throw shooter in his ongoing 2025 MPBL 7th season averages. Kyle Tolentino, new player via Pba 44th draft pick, 6'4", 180 pounds, 24 years old, 12.7 points, 6.8 rebounds, 1.9 assists, 28% 3-point shooter, 65% free throw shooter in his ongoing 2025 MPBL 7th season averages. Centers, Luis Villegas, comeback player, 6'7", 215 pounds, 28 years old, 2.5 points, 2 rebounds, 0.5 blocks, 25% 3-point shooter, 40% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Governor's Cup averages. Bo Belga, team captain, 6'5", 280 pounds, 38 years old, 2.3 points, 2 rebounds, 0.3 assists, 50% 3-point shooter, 50% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Kit Datu, 6'8", 220 pounds, 29 years old, 7.1 points, 4.1 rebounds, 1.2 assists, 37% 3-point shooter, 86% free throw shooter in his Pba 49th Philippine Cup averages. Mark Omega, new player via Pba 20th draft pick, 6'5", 220 pounds, 24 years old, 3.4 points, 5.3 rebounds, 1 assist, 40 field goal percentage, 44% free throw shooter in his 2024 MPBL 6th season averages. Ito ang official, new and loaded complete lineup ng rainorshine-elastopainters para sa Pba 50th All-Filipino Cup. Sa tingin nyo mga kabubbles, makakaabot na kaya sa PBA Finals ang bagong lineup ng Rain or Shine ngayong Pba 50th season? I-comment nyo na po yan sa baba.